All right, this thing on? What's going on, everyone? Bryce Gelman here today, going to be reacting to the trade that happened the other day, which is, listen, it's been 2 days, and my apologies for not getting anything out sooner. I feel like everyone was doing everything and whatnot. Any person who has an opinion on anything was putting out an opinion on what happened the other day. Birthday weekend for me. I was busy. I had to take my time and enjoy myself and not, read too much into what happened because I really think it is the craziest sports news we have ever seen. It really is. If you missed it, if you live under a rock, if you don't pay attention to anything in the world, the Lakers traded for Luka Doncic. The Mavericks, with a 25-year-old generational superstar, traded said superstar to the Lakers for Anthony Davis and only for one first-round pick. A generational talent. They got one first-round pick for that. The most surprising, the most shocking sports move in history, in my opinion. In my memory, as a 24-year-old, as a now 24-year-old, it is incomprehensible what we witnessed. Luka Doncic on the Los Angeles Lakers. It's crazy shit. It is. It is truly unbelievable. And I think completely out of the realm of possibility before that news broke. At the time, everyone was wondering if Shams got hacked. And then once it was confirmed, they were wondering what the hell is wrong with Nico Harrison. You've got executive texting everyone and their mothers saying we didn't expect this to happen. They were inevitably salty as hell. The other executives who've been stockpiling assets for years and years and years to try to trade for a superstar on the level of Luka Doncic, and they don't even get a chance. They don't even get a chance because Nico Harrison has been in bed with Anthony Davis for years and really wanted Anthony Davis on his team. So there you go. It's done. Just like that, in the middle of the night at 12:13 in the morning of February 2nd, one of the NBA's biggest stars, one of the biggest stars in the world in terms of any sport, was traded to the Lakers. And the Lakers get to rebuild around Luka Doncic. They could try to win. I don't know how good of a chance they have of winning. I do not understand how the Lakers' odds went from, I think, 30-1 to win the championship to 18-1. How does that help them? Luka is an unbelievable player. They have no backcourt depth. They have no center. Anthony Davis was playing, in his own opinion, out of position at the center position. What the hell are you going to do now? Dorian Finney-Smith at the 5? You're going to start Jackson Hayes, who has started a grand total of 5 out of 47 games this year? Is that going to be... listen, I digress. Because if you're any team, it doesn't matter where you are. If you are offered Luka Doncic and you think what you're giving back is worth it, you make the move. If you know that you are the only team being approached to trade for Luka Doncic, you are trading for Luka Doncic. Man, how the hell did this happen? How the hell did Nico Harrison get approval from the new Mavericks owner to do this deal? And you see it left and right from Mavericks. I mean, listen, can you imagine being a Mavericks fan? Can you imagine having this undeniably generational talent on your roster? International superstar. Perennial MVP favorite. And you trade him for a 31-year-old Anthony Davis, who, yes, give him credit over the last 2 years, has been relatively healthy. But over the course of the past few years, can you trust Anthony Davis to be your 1A on a championship team? Absolutely not. Does he have that talent? Yes. Do the Dallas Mavericks have the talent on their roster to contend? Yes, they do. If anything, this makes them a bigger contender, a bigger favorite to win the championship. Because when healthy, Anthony Davis is unstoppable. And Luka, there are concerns about his defense. There's concerns about his weight. There's concerns about his effort. That's undeniable. Like, that is the case. That is true. But it doesn't mean you go out and trade the guy for Anthony Davis and one first-round pick. That is my biggest qualm with this deal. The fact the Mavs didn't get what they absolutely most could have gotten. And, it was rumored that they went out and went to another team. It was probably the Bucks. I mean, who else could it realistically have been? The Bucks said no. I don't know. I mean, maybe there was concerns that Luka wasn't going to resign, but either way, the value that Luka held when the deal went down was enough to replenish your franchise with assets for 10 years. They could have gotten 6 first-round picks, 3 pick swaps. They could have gotten everything from a team who really wanted Luka Doncic. But instead, they got Anthony Davis, and with it, an unbelievable amount of pressure to win. If this doesn't amount into anything over the next 3 years, it will go down as the worst trade in sports history, especially if Luka is able to get back in shape, he's able to show some effort on the defensive end, and the Lakers are able to win a championship or multiple with him at this point. I mean, don't you think everyone's going to want to go to LA to play with Luka? Everyone wanted to go to LA in the first place. And now you add Luka to the mix. You're telling me over the course of the next 5-10 years, Luka's going to be this prime for the next 10 years. With what we're seeing in the current NBA, guys are still contributing into their mid-30s on a superstar level. Luka is going to be a top player in this league for the next 10 years. The Mavs traded that away for 3 to 4 years of an impactful Anthony Davis, which could be less if he gets injured again. So, you got to win. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's the current state of the Mavs. I think they could win. Like, their team is good. They have a really good roster. They match up well against the Thunder. They do. Because they match their depth. Most of the teams in the league can't say that. The Mavs have that. They've got dogs. They do. And they have the backcourt depth to not replace Luka Doncic, but replenish whatever he was able to give. Because you got Kyrie in that same lineup. They have the talent. I don't know. I just, instead of going in and trying to win now by trading Luka Doncic, I guess after all the moves the Mavs have made, this is kind of led up to this. But you kind of, at the same time, thought that this was all to build around Luka. Not to just cash Luka in for another aging star. I mean, they've already got Clay. He's in the twilight of his career. Kyrie's got 1 to 2 at max. Solid, impactful seasons left. Gafford is in his prime. PJ Washington in his prime. You got a young guy in Quentin Grimes, solid player. Other than that, Derek Lively is young. Okay, good. I don't know. I just don't know. I'm just as befuddled as most people out there at this deal. Like, it just doesn't happen. This magnitude of a deal, it does not happen. And we're going to get into what this means for the next season. We're going to also talk about OG Anunoby's foot sprain, which we know nothing about. We just know that he's got a foot sprain. We know he's out for the next game. And that's it. And that's all we will know until he's back on the court, I'm sure. That's how the Knicks work. We're going to talk about that. But one thing this does now for the Lakers is, as I mentioned, it kind of catapults Jackson Hayes into a much more meaningful role in that rotation. And they now lack a solid defensive center. The Knicks have a solid defensive center in Mitchell Robinson, a center that has an insane amount of uncertainty and question marks surrounding him, but a defensive center nonetheless. So if I'm the Knicks, I don't know. I've looked at the Lakers roster. I've looked at what they have to offer in terms of picks. I cannot believe that the Mavs couldn't get the Lakers' second first-round pick that they possess. They got the 2031 first-round pick, and they didn't get the other one the Lakers have. Whatever. I digress. I can't really do it anymore. But one thing the Lakers are looking for is a defensive center, and the Knicks possess a defensive center. Defensive center that they need, but a defensive center that they don't really trust. So it's interesting. It is to think about whether or not the Knicks could go out trade Mitchell Robinson to the Lakers, what the hell are they going to get back? What are they going to get back? Whatever move they make in a Mitch deal has to help their bottom line. It needs to acquire a solid wing, a 3-and-D wing, a guy who can eat minutes from the Knicks stars, from Anunoby, from Bridges, from Hart. I don't even think that they could trade him, but the one guy on that roster, the Lakers roster, that if I'm the Knicks I want is Dorian Finney-Smith, which that's not happening. They just traded for him. He was a killer in that game against the Knicks, shooting 40% plus from three, elite defense. He's the ideal 3-and-D guy, and he's got size. He's big. You could play him at the 5. The Lakers, it's not sustainable to play him at the 5. You don't actually have another 5. But he's a really solid player. I look at the rest of the Lakers roster. They possess guys the Knicks don't need, like a Dalton Connect, which I don't think they would trade. He's their first-round pick this past year. Austin Reeves, the Knicks would have to give draft assets for him. They are extremely reluctant to trade him away, even though now they have all this depth in the front court, in the backcourt. There really isn't a guy on that Lakers team who helps the Knicks. So then you got to think, all right, well, maybe you facilitate, you get a third team into that mix. If you're just joining now, we're talking, obviously, as you can tell in the title, the Luka trade, my reactions to it, and now we're getting into what that means for the next season and potentially a trading of Mitchell Robinson to the Los Angeles Lakers, who desperately need a defensive center. I just don't think anyone on that roster matches the Knicks' needs. So I'm posing the fact that maybe they get a third team involved here. Maybe that is what helps the Knicks not retain any of the salary they give out in the trade and get a guy who can come in and offer some meaningful minutes to them. They so desperately need a backup wing. It's going to show now. With OG out, who's going to play? There's going to be a lot of guard play, and Josh Hart's going to be playing 40-plus minutes a game. It's not sustainable, because what happens when Josh Hart gets hurt? Then what? Now what the hell do you do? What happens if Mikal Bridges misses his first regular season game in his career? What do you do then? It's concerning. Absolutely is concerning. And I've been saying it, and I've been saying it, and I keep repeating myself here. But the Knicks desperately need wing help. The Lakers do not have anyone on that roster who could give the Knicks what they need right now. They don't. That's why I don't think a trade to the Lakers, giving up Mitchell Robinson to the Lakers makes any sense. I don't. Like, you need to ensure that by giving Mitchell Robinson, you are getting something that helps you more in return. If not, you hold on to Mitch and you hope for the best. That's the reality of the situation. Because if you're not getting anything back that helps you right now, Mitch holds more value to you than anyone else. There's just a million question marks surrounding him. It appears now that he's close to returning to full contact. He's been no contact since his injury. He's been running, I think, and jumping now, which is great, but no contact yet. And it's February now. Originally, we're looking at a December timeline. Then it was we're looking at a January timeline. Now it's when the hell is he coming back? Will he be back before March? Will he be back before the playoffs? So just knowing that there was this massive question mark surrounding Mitch, what is his value in the league? Like, what realistically could the Knicks get back for him? He's got a $15 million deal, $13 million around that next year, descending contract, really good contract. The Knicks, as you know, being strapped right before the second apron, cannot take in any more money than they can give out. So any trade to go out and improve this roster will need to include Mitchell Robinson. He just doesn't have much value. Like, he comes back, and I think it helps because, you're able to take away some minutes from OG Anunoby and then in turn give more minutes, or I get less minutes altogether to OG, Mikal, and Josh Hart, but you still need that backup wing. You still need another wing. That's the one thing the Knicks desperately need. Backcourt depth, I don't know if it outweighs the frontcourt depth, though. I still think the Knicks struggle They need a defensive big. They need Mitch back. And they need a healthy Mitch. It's just a lot to ask for at this point in his career, with the amount of injuries that he's had, with the type of player that he is. His strengths rely on his athleticism, his ability to get up and dunk the ball off the lob, his ability to get up and defend the three-point shooter, and to hedge, and to send shots into the fifth row on three-pointers at the rim, to jump up and use his athleticism to be dominant. What did we see in the first round against the Cavs in 2023 in the playoffs? He was dominant. What did we see in the first round against Joel Embiid? He was dominant. And I don't want to hear, oh, Joel Embiid wasn't 100%. Mitch wasn't either. They were both equally just as hurt. It was an even playing field. The Knicks need Mitch back. And if you missed it, I had a discussion with SiriusXM's Brian Geltzeiler. We talked Mitch. We talked the trade deadline, still evergreen before the Thursday trade deadline. You can catch that on my YouTube page. We talked Mitch. He offered something about Mitch that shocked me. That he knows, potentially, something that we don't. That Mitchell Robinson might not come back at all this season. That there is a likelihood that that is the case. You think other teams hear that? And they want to trade for Mitchell Robinson? No. You think they want to give up meaningful guys? You'd have to go out. Here's the thing. And this is something else we talked about on that podcast. The Knicks, if they really want someone who can help impact winning in the play-in era, where everyone's got a chance, the Knicks need to go out and trade Mitchell Robinson to a team that sucks. The Wizards. The Jazz. A team that can help rebuild. I mean, listen, you're not going to rebuild around Mitchell Robinson, who's got no offensive game, but you're going to use him as someone who can get better and eventually build up his trade value to maybe trade him away or become a viable and valuable piece of a rotation that can win in 2 or 3 years. That's the risk involved in trading for Mitchell Robinson that the majority of teams that are actually good in the league do not want to take on. I don't blame them. There are a lot of really good 3-and-D wings on some solid teams. A team that sucks right now and a team that is in trouble is the Pelicans. Herb Jones, they've got, he's hurt. Trey Murphy, who I would do anything. I would literally give up every remaining Knicks pick for Trey Murphy. However many years you're going to get of Trey Murphy, because he's going to get a massive deal. He is a star. Man, if the Knicks got Trey Murphy, I think they could sweep OKC. That's how good I think Trey Murphy is and how good I think he'd fit in on this team. Can you imagine if he was the sixth man? Could you imagine how many minutes he would take away from Hart, Bridges, Anunoby? All those guys would play 30 minutes. It would be unbelievable. It would be unbelievable. When you look at what Trey Murphy has done, he's on a terrible team. They're going to try to rebuild around him. They've got a lot of talent on the team. They're just hurt. And they have an insurmountable deficit in terms of trying to come back and making the playoffs. They're nowhere near the playoffs. They're terrible. But they've got the talent. Maybe they want a Mitchell Robinson. I don't know. I really don't know. Last thing I wanted to cover today is this OG Anunoby injury. Against the Lakers, he suffered a non-contact foot injury. It's what the Knicks are now calling, I think, a right foot sprain. Who the hell knows? Could this be a Lisfranc injury and he could be out for the year? Yeah, we don't know. We have no idea. And it could blossom into something bigger. Blossom as if it's a good thing, but it could turn into something a lot bigger than what we expect. OG's out for the next game for the Knicks. And I don't think it's time to panic yet. But, it's time to start thinking, all right, what the hell are we going to do now? Where the hell did the Knicks go? Ariel Huckporty fan account, thanks for the comment. And if you want to, chime in and get in on the conversation, just leave a comment down below. Sorry, just tune in late. Can you give comments on if you think they would move Mitch to LA? I looked at the Lakers roster, Ariel Huckporty fan account, and I just, who realistically could the Knicks get back that can help them win now? There really isn't anyone. There really isn't anyone. I would love Dorian Finney-Smith. They just traded for him. They can't trade him. Why would they? Realistically, who else is there? They need wing depth. The Lakers have scoring wing depth. They're not trading Reeves. Don't connect a rookie they just drafted. He's not going to get traded. Both those guys don't play defense. So who the hell else is there? Who else is there? That's the question. Lakers don't have much defense right now. They just sacrificed a lot in trading Anthony Davis, who's a perennial all-defensive player. So they really need Mitch. I don't know if there's anything that we could want for them. Because franchise mode, I made a move for Hachimura, included some picks, I think. Hachimura is not known for his defense. He's a scoring wing. I mean, you'd trade Precious because he kind of takes that role. Precious playing out of his mind. He needs to continue that play, and he's going to continue getting minutes. It's only fair. He has earned those minutes. He sucked at the start of the year. He's been a beast as of late. His cutting ability, his rebounding. He can shoot the three now. He's an invaluable player for the Knicks. Him and Deuce have really come on strong. Campaign has offered some good minutes. He takes some crazy-ass threes every once in a while. I guess that's what you get when you got the campaign experience, which is a lot more frustrating when you're playing against it. The guy's raining down threes from 30 feet. Better when you're rooting for him, not when he's missing them. I don't know if that makes sense for the Knicks to go and trade Mitchell Robinson to the Lakers. Like, there's nothing they can get in return. And the Mitch deal is going to have to be the deal in which they are acquiring the wing depth that they need. Because he's the most valuable contract that they have. Is he the most valuable player that they can trade? No. Deuce is, because of his contract and how little he's making. But the Knicks also have to, get back or equal amount because of where they are in terms of like how strapped they are, in terms of how close they are to the second apron. That's the issue with the new CBA. It's difficult. And you know that because the Knicks weren't able to bring back Isaiah Hartenstein. How much better would they be this year if they had Hartenstein and Cat? Yeah, a lot better. All right, that'll do it for today's live stream. I just wanted to give my thoughts on that idiotic trade that, again, if the Mavs don't win a championship in the next 3 years, it's an absolute abject failure. And will go down as the worst trade in the history of sports. I don't think there's any doubt about it, even more than the Shea trade, which I think is, as of right now, the worst trade in NBA history. So, whatever. I still can't wrap my hand around it. I know I speak for a lot of people out there that, like, you still can't comprehend it. You still can't comprehend a move of that magnitude being made, when it was made, in the manner that it was made, and for who it was made. You're not going to go out and see what else you can get for a generational superstar in Luka Doncic. You're seriously not going to go out and try to get 5, 6, 7 first-round picks for the guy and rebuild your franchise forever? You go out and you trade Luka Doncic for 6, 7 first-round picks. You still have a really solid team. If you were that concerned with Luka, you could have used those picks to get better. They really wanted Anthony Davis. Nico Harrison has been in bed with Anthony Davis for years. When he worked with Nike, he was his main rep. There you go. This screams, here's my comparison to all this. This screams Knicks and all the players they've been interested in. I just think it's on a different level. You're not trading your superstar generational talent to get said player. It wasn't like the Knicks had Luka Doncic. They traded him away for Jalen Brunson because Leon Rose really liked Jalen Brunson. Like, people really had a problem with that. The idea the CAA Knicks, the Villanova Knicks, have gone out and gotten guys that are close to Leon Rose. Karl-Anthony Towns, too. Josh Hart, close to Jalen Brunson. Mikal Bridges, another Villanova guy. Like, they've gone out and exclusively acquired players who fit into the CAA mold. Rick Brunson, Leon Rose, top World Wide West, they kind of run the team. Jalen Brunson kind of runs the team. He gets what he wants. He signs a deal like the deal he signed. Of course he gets what he wants. I just don't see people comparing that to what the Mavs just did and calling it out the same way the Knicks were called out for what they did. And it's garbage. Because what the Mavs just did, they got in bed with someone that GM, Nico Harrison, has been in bed with for years. And what they did in turn is give up a generational talent and killed the hopes and dreams of millions of fans out there who really like Luka Doncic. We're a fan of the Mavs. I don't know if you saw, but the Mavs lost like 800,000 or 900,000 followers on Instagram after the trade. How many Luka fans there are out there? I know multiple Luka fans. They're going to root for the Lakers now. They're going to hate that. The fact that they become Lakers fans now. The fact that we have to watch Luka in the purple and gold, it's disgusting. It is. I hate it. I just, the rest of the league, like, hopefully they aren't able to compete. Hopefully they decide, and they know they're not, the roster as it currently stands is not good enough to win a championship. It just isn't. They have no defense, especially in the front court. I know I said I was going to wrap this up. We're getting more and more viewers in here, so I wanted to get some more thoughts out here. The Lakers are not in a position to win a championship. They're not. Will they make more moves? Who knows? They need a defensive big. Will they go out and acquire Mitchell Robinson? We talked about it earlier. If you're just tuning in now, I did like 10 minutes on whether or not the Lakers should go out and trade for Mitchell Robinson and whether or not the Knicks should trade him. I don't think they should. I don't see anyone on that roster, on that Lakers roster, who really catches my eye. So I would hold on to Mitch Robinson unless someone else comes and said, hey, we want Mitch. We're a rebuilding team. We want Mitch. Let's see what we could do with him. Get him back into shape. Turn him into the defensive beast superstar on the defensive end that he has been earlier on in his career. Do it. Go ahead. Be my guest. But give the Knicks back something that can help them win a championship this year. Because as of right now, they desperately need wing depth. That's what they need. You know, like the need for wing depth takes precedent over needing some really good players in the front court. Like, after what we've seen from Precious Achiuwa, I think he's done a great job playing bigger than he is, cutting as well as he has, shooting the three. I mean, defensively, he's a beast. He's a beast. You just wish he was 2 to 3 inches taller. You wish he could defend the paint a little bit better. You wish Karl-Anthony Towns was a better paint protector. You don't have that. You could get it back with Mitch. And, you know, the issue is you just need another wing. And you can't have them both. You can't at this point, unless Leon Rose works his magic. And, again, it remains to be seen. Got 3 more days. I will be doing something. I'm not going to have much time because I'm working for SiriusXM NBA Radio, our live trade deadline show. I wish I was, you know, actually behind the mic. I'm producing it. So I won't have much time on Thursday, but we'll talk about it Wednesday. We're going to preview it. We're going to get into all the rumors, and we'll discuss. So until then, I will talk to you all very soon. Let's go Knicks.